Hello out there in YouTube land. This is Mike with another video. This is a follow-up to the video I just did a couple days ago about suffering. Um, I took the position in that video that says God will allow suffering in our lives. And ever since then, I keep running into people saying that it's actually the opposite. That it's not God's will for us to ever suffer, that we're supposed to have these marvelous lives and never suffer, never be sick, never be poor, things like that. It's a totally unbiblical point of view. And there's no support for that in Scripture. I'm sorry. Scripture actually supports the opposite, and I will be giving the scriptures to prove that. Just want to talk a little bit about suffering itself. Before that, I actually saw someone say that if you say God allows suffering in our lives, it's the same thing as blaming God for causing suffering to happen in our lives. And no, I'm sorry, the two things are totally different. God is not imposing suffering on us. He allows suffering to happen because of free will. God created a perfect world, placed Adam and Eve in it, but they chose to sin, and you and I would have done the same thing. We would have chosen to sin somehow. So don't pat yourself on the back, because you wouldn't have done it. you would have did the same thing they did, probably. So no, there's no probably about it. Everybody would have sinned. Okay, so because of sin entering creation, the world was corrupted. Suffering began. Illnesses, everything like that. So think about it this way. There's bacteria and viruses floating around out there. Now, just because you're a saved Christian doesn't mean that you're immune to those viruses. You can catch them and get sick and die just like anybody else. Okay? Now, think about also something like murderers. They choose victims and they cause untold suffering to families. Somebody decides to drink and drive, and they're drunk. They get in the car, they cause an accident, and they maim and murder somebody in an accident. That's suffering as well. And that could happen to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a saved person or not. Christians, we're forgiven, but it doesn't exempt us from the consequences of sin, our own sins or the sins of other people. And think about Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So, and that says all, not some. Okay. We're going to look at some of these biblical verses to support this point of view. Okay. First one we're going to look at is Matthew, and it's chapter 5, verse 45. Now, Jesus was talking about loving your enemies. So, verse 45 starts, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. So, good things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. That's just, the way it goes. Rain falls on the just and the unjust. It's a perfect way of putting it. Okay. And Jesus told us also that we would have trials and tribulations in our lifetime. Okay? This is John 16:33. These things I have spoken unto you, that ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. There you go. Jesus made it possible for us to overcome sin. He saves us from sin. But because sin is out there and other people are not saved, things aren't going to be fixed until Jesus comes back. And we're going to suffer consequences until then. There's no getting around it. Last verse we're going to look at is Romans 8:28. One of the best verses in the whole Bible. I really love it. It always seems to come up in my life somehow, like pops up. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. God works all things to our good, not just good things, not just bad things, all things. So this idea that you're always supposed to be perfect health, you're never supposed to have money troubles, everything's supposed to be wonderful, and you skip along, la la la, your best life now. It's a very unbiblical position. And basically, when you say that to people, well, if your faith was just stronger, you wouldn't be having all these problems. It's throwing a stumbling block in other people's path. Why would you do that to another believer? And I said this in the other video. Would you say that to your grandmother? Well, Granny, I know you've been sick for a long time, but if your faith was just stronger, God would heal you. I don't know what to say to people like that. Just that it's a completely unbiblical position. God does not impose suffering on us. He does allow suffering to occur because of free will. That's the point I want to make with this video. So pretty much, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. Just don't let people tell you your faith is lacking just because you're having problems. Don't let people do that to you. We're supposed to stick together and support each other, build each other up, not tear each other down. You don't want to let bad teaching stand. You also don't want to be, unduly, smug and self-righteous about it either. But, yeah. Let's leave it at that. God works everything together for our good. The good things, the bad things, it's all meant to strengthen your faith and, build up your trust in God. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Send my love out to everybody. Take care.